Greetings and welcome to Factorio. I'm Dgray and today we continue our entry level to Megabase, where we in the last episode just got our utility science up and running, and that is slowly churning out some of our sciences. In today's episode we will finally start to design our new train network that we'll make for the Megabase that we're going to be start designing as well in our building in the coming episodes. So what I've planned today is that we'll do it in about 2 or 3 steps. For one, we'll do the grids, how big it has to be, and then we'll design how big it has to be, and then we'll have to decide how the unloading of the trains will be. And I'll try to explain my thought process and why we're doing what we're doing. And hopefully you'll leave some feedback on that. If you think that's a good plan, do remember to leave a like on the video. And as always, if you're new to the channel, do remember to subscribe as well. So let's get on with today's episode. So what we need to get done now is that we have most of the things we need for our network. We have the power poles. What's called the big electric ones we're going to be using. We have roboports. We need to add it to the mall. We have rails, train stops, rail signals, chain signals, locomotives, cargo wagons and fluid wagons all being made in the mall, or at least most of them are. So before we start to build, let's just add roboports to our little mall, and the easiest way to do that is just hooking up our what's it called, red circuits to the green line. So what I want to do is find a place where I can go up. We can probably just take a right here on the left side. I think that'll be fine. So if it goes about here. So it goes out right here. You can just drag it by yourself and in. Then we'll set up the road ports and then we'll get going. Luckily, the path of the main bus means that we have it all going back this way and now going in. While it's flowing in, let's go up top and see where we want to hook in our roboports. Luckily, if you look at the recipe, steel, iron gear wheels and advanced circuits. Also we have 5-second craft. So we should be able to at least have one of these going. So setup wise, it's gonna be very easy. I'll just leave it to maybe 40 at a time, just to have a bit of buffer and we don't have to wait when we're expanding out. So let's try and set it there. This will of course consume quite a bit of resources, but it should be fine. What we need to do is just do a little trick like that to get the red circuits and the steel right there. Because then long-handed, and a fast one from over here. Maybe a few to grab them, since we need 45 at a time. And the same with steel, so maybe adding a second one to make sure we have enough throughput. So as you can see, right now we have things flowing in at a nice steady pace. Meaning that we're now making roboports, and that will supply our base for a little while. It's so nice having robots again. I've been looking forward to that for quite a while. We should probably also set up some crafting for these, for construction robots. But since they require flying robot frames, we might just handcraft a few to get things going. So right now, I'll just take, let's say 4 of these to have enough for what I want to design our first grids, because there will be in a set of 4 what we want to do, and then we'll mark it out from that. While they're crafting, I'll just show you that in between episodes I just filled in the rest of our smeltery array, our smeltery columns, to make sure we consume all the resources going in, if possible. So right now things are just flowing. We are still lacking copper, but that's about it. Let's just start a bit of science as well. Maybe get some productivity going to get that done. get some coax processes so we can start to get to nuclear fuel, because we do want to get that into the trains as fast as possible. Because if you look at the vehicle acceleration and vehicle top speed, it is the best thing we can get. So that is what we are going for. So while we design, we'll let our research go, because that is something we luckily can do. And let's see if we can't design a blueprint we can live with. I'll just run to the end of the main bus because we don't need much more on it. In theory, we could leave some room for... oh, forgot to bring the tracks. Leave room for military science when we research that, so we can go and get the Spidertron. And I might want to leave a bit of room as well for rocket fuel into... nuclear rocket fuel to get the fast trains. But that is not the most important thing here in the beginning. So for now, let's just... oh, that's a lot. Let's take 1,000. Have some. Let's take some... let's see. Some more power poles. We have 90, that should be fine. Don't need trains just yet. We need some chain signals, and we need some train stops maybe, and some rail signals. I think if we have power poles, these and that, maybe get some radars as well. We'll hook that up because the thing I'm planning on doing do require quite a bit of radars, as I want it to be easy expandable without me having to do anything. And that includes exploring the area. So let's just quickly set that up. There we are. You can go in and you can grab and grab. And a little chest for you. Out and limit it to, as I say, 1 stack. That should be enough. So there we are. So now we have all the building blocks we need to set up the first part of our a modular train megabase. So as I explained back in episode 1, I very much want to make it modular so we can just copy paste even one set and then use the inside of that for building. So why don't we just start it somewhere over here? That should leave us a bit of room, and we'll move it if it's in the way of the stone. So the size I wanted to build at is pretty much the max range on roboports. So if we look right here, the best way to map that out is just drag it out like this. Go all the way to the side, go down to right there, and then across. Let's get this cleared out. Because then we have a blueprint we know we can easily expand out. That is normally the way I do it, to make sure it's modular. And we'll do number 4 over here. There we are. So this is pretty much a grid size, because if you see this, then we can just expand it out this way, in case we need to. And everything will be good. So now we need to design our trains. Right now I'm just measuring out if we can actually get these in the middle, because these move 2 at a time. You have to be sure to align the roboports correctly, otherwise it'll look crooked. As you see right now, we might have to shift them over 1, because right here we have 22, and we want an uneven number. That is quite important. So let's do this. We'll shift all of this 1 to the right. So here instead. We'll take you. We'll go there instead, making room for that one. And then to make sure we have it all lined up, we'll just take you out, and do this. There, there, and there. Because that way we know the outside is correct. That also means we have 23 in between. It means we have to remove 11 on each side to make room for the power pole in the middle. So 11, that means if you remove that one, add in a bit of power. Let's just say right there. Then we can have the train tracks going this way. Oh, and that way on both sides. Because then we know there's room for it. So now we have this hooked up. Let's just give it a bit of space this way. We can take this. We can line it up this way to make sure we get things incorrect. We have to remove these first. Deconstruct that one, and this to make room for what we need. Move that and that. Then we can take you, and there. And please, robots, pick these up. There we are, and might be able to take the ones faster this way. And take you and do that. Let's just check we actually lined it up correctly in between them. Because this is right in the middle. There. So that goes straight. There it has to be. Because we want to line things up so we can easily expand it. As you can see, if you hover over Wonder's place, you can see it fits right in the middle there. And that is what I want to see in terms of it lines up with this one. Look at the map. That is a straight line. That is perfect. So that's right in the middle. So one of the issues when expanding out like this is if you look at where we have these power poles now. If you do it like this, that means we'll have 4 all the way around. That is too many. So what we do instead is take these out and add them at the corners. Because that way, it's a lot easier to expand it out and it will look a lot better. Let's get a robot to help us out. Building. Let's just take you to make sure it goes correct. There, there, and there. Deconstructing that one. So now we have a nice blueprint that is expandable and we'll be able to line it up. As you can see, it fits right here. And the same here. Let's just get this built in. There we are, there we are. And that looks very good. Now to make a circle. Some people use Celtic knots. For this Let's Play, I want to just try and use a roundabout. I know back in the day it was a bad idea to use roundabouts. I've heard that it's not too bad anymore because of the pathing, but it should be good. So let's give it a try with roundabouts and then we might redesign it in the future if you guys really like it. So we have to find a place where it fits. A good way to get a nice even roundabout is if you do this one. And then go straight down, do 1, go over, do 1, up, there and there. Giving us a nice roundabout. As you can see, it is a bit misaligned, so we have to find a place where it actually fits in. So I think moving it down 1 will get it right in the middle. At least that is what I'm hoping. Let's see here. Does that fit in as needed? If you take that just and check. Look at that. Looking very, very nicely. With a nice one in the middle. So now, I want a few things. I want all of these to connect up here. So you can actually go out and in wherever we want to. And one thing you have to keep in mind when designing a train network is you want to make it right-hand drive or left-hand drive if you're doing 2-lane tracks. Since I'm from Europe and since I'm already building it, I'll do right-hand drive. That means on the right-hand track, the trains will always go up and on the left one it always goes down. So it'll go out here this way, so you always know which way is up and down. That means we connect you up this way into this little setup. This one will do the same, go from here into that one. And then we can take you, very easily line up to make sure we do it correctly. Right there we have a pretty nice roundabout. That means trains come in here, go out, all the 3 other sides all go back where it came from, in case we have a train stop over here. But what we can also do is if we have a train, for example, going from over here, they want to go all the way around and up here, or go down here and out this way. We want to make sure that this middle area is not blocked by the trains. Because if you look over at the right, so over here, it says straight rail, then it says trains in block. Trains in block is a very important thing to understand, because that actually, we don't have any, but it shows how many trains you can have inside a block. Right now, this is 1 block, because this is all connected together. And I'll just show you how it looks. So right now, only 1 train can occupy this entire area. We want to break that up, so we have more things. And to avoid gridlocks, where all the trains get jammed, a good rule of thumb is use chain signals in and use rail signals out. That is a good rule of thumb to live by. Let's do it right here on the outside. You also on the inside here. But move it back 1 to give us a bit more room. But let's try there for now. And the same over here. We'll do a rail signal in and we'll do a chain signal out. Let's do it here. That way we can take you. We can line you up every place to make sure we get all of the signals lined up correctly. Oh, robots are kind of slow to pick up what we need. Yeah. So if we pick up 1 more rail signal now, you can see we now have it into 1, 2, the different blocks you can see here. So still 1 massive one in the middle. To avoid that, we want to split it up. For that, we'll use chain signals. Pretty much we can add a train signal here, 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 and here. So as you can see now, we have 4 grids in this. So we can have a train in this one, on this one, on that one, or the other one. I'll just go and get a train so you can see it in action, the way it works, and then I'll be right back. So this one, I got a few trains, and let's show you what I mean about the trains in block, because it is a very important thing to understand when working with trains. For example, if I place the train right here, if you look at the area, for example this one, it says trains in block 1. Then when you go, this is all changed in block 1 because this is all 1 grid. That means up here it's not trains in block 0. That means that there's no trains in this one, and the chain signal will let it pass, or a rail signal will let it pass, as long as this is empty or the destination is empty where it needs to go. This one is red because it says you can't go in here. There's a train in it, so you're not allowed to go in here. But if we then say, if I add in a chain signal here as well, let's just say right here, this will turn blue and this one will turn red, because it's blue and blue because it's allowed to go this way since there's no trains, but it can't go this way because there is a train in this block. That means if a train comes this way, then it won't go in if it has to go over here, any of these ways around. But if it wants to go down here, it's allowed to go. So that's a very, very important thing to understand. Then I can do the same around here, dividing it up a bit more to make sure we have a higher throughput through the circle. So as you see, all of them are blue. This is the only red one we have now, and then the rest is green because there's no other trains. For example, if I had a train here then, you can see these two turns red. Because if this one wants to go around here and out, it can go that way, but it can't go in here. This one can't go in, and this one won't allow it to go that way. But it can go not even this way because there's a train in it. But if we, for example, just do this, because we have signal back here, a rail signal. If we then just move it ahead a small amount, let's see, from here until the other side, this one should turn blue. And this one will turn red, telling us that it's allowed to go through. So that is the power of chain signals and why we use them. So this is a good start for build. So now that we have this, we have a few things we want to decide. Because if we have trains that just want to go straight right, we could add in a second track next to it. So people going this way that wants to go around won't get interrupted. It is quite good to do as it improves throughput a lot. We just need to find a place where it can go. So for example, right here to there. And now this one is complaining because, oh, it's a signal here, but there's two ways through around this one. So it actually makes sure that this one doesn't work. So a way to fix that is just take our chain signal right there and a chain signal up here, saying that you are allowed to go through this way and not interfere with this one, giving us a second track for our trains to go if needed. Let's take this little part. I'll just take that thing, we'll flip it around and add it in so we have the same setup everywhere. Making sure that it's all symmetrical and able to be used. The final thing I want to do in this grid is making sure that we have some radars. Because one of the most annoying things when building modular is that you have to keep going there to explore the area because it's not illuminated by anything. So a way to fix that while also making it modular is by adding it someplace where we don't have more of them. If we do it at the sides, we'll need 4. But if we add it in the middle, we can do it with 1. If we take a radar, I think it's in the middle I want to do it, depending if we can get it to look good. With 4 around. Not quite, might have to do it at the sides, doing 4 at each of them. But we want to find a place at least for this one. How can we line it up? Then let's see. We need to have 4 then in here because it's easier to have more power poles than having this one. Then we can shift click these, get the power away to make it look pretty. Then get some copper cables because as you guys know or may not know, you can shift clip these to remove the power poles, and then you can drag in new ones. And to make it look pretty, let's do something like this. It's not necessary to do, but I like the way it looks. We do this as long as we hook it up correctly. As you can see right in the middle, we could have taken it from up here instead, but let's do something like that. That looks kind of cool. And then the blueprint will kind of remember how this looks. So that is the corner of our modular grid. The next thing we need to figure out is how big do you want to make it. So for this one, I probably want it to be at least a few tiles long. So if you take this one out until it's ready, I'll just add in some power because that makes it easier to see the lines. Let's just get you over this way as a little start. We'll remove it in a bit anyway. There we are. So now we can see our robot grids. Will consume a ton of power filling these up with 50 kilowatts, or what's called, what does it say? Yeah, there's a charge in it, so you can charge the robots. And then we want to expand this out. Of course, we can always move this as it's not down yet, so we'll go over here. let's see, goes right there. We'll then want to have some train tracks going along. As soon as we figure out how big it has to be, I'll just get these trees picked up so they're not in the way. And this is of course something this one can do as well as soon as it's hooked up. Letting our robots do it. So let's get you to about here. The reason why I'm doing 2 in here is because then I want the train stops in between these and building in the middle. That is at least what I have planned. So let's get the robots in. Let's do the same up top. Luckily just taking that and adding it in. That part will get our train tracks to go across. Just place in some ghost tracks. We know this one is needed over here, so in theory we can copy that. Paste it over here. So we know exactly where train tracks have to go to. And get it in. Just give me a second, I'll just remove the trees and then I'll be right back. So I just removed most of the trees and we have started to build the second part of this one. Then we just need to hook up our train tracks going this way. Getting them together. And then one of the last thing we need to do now is make sure that we have enough power going through this area. So to do that, I want to have one right below here. So you can go there, and then we'll go straight to that one. Should be correct in the middle. Then we just need to have one in between these that goes both ways. Let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, that's more than that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that in the middle? Somewhat in the middle? Flip it. Yeah. So as you can see right now, we have this right in the middle. You can test that by flipping it the other way, making sure that it all fit in. And then we just add in a few rail signals here to make sure things can go along. Getting in the second one over here, getting you on the opposite side as well. I think it'll have to be right there then to make sure it lines up correctly. Let's just try and flip this and see if it works. There we are. And then we have one side of a train track up and running. That gets in, that gets radar power. The train tracks is being laid down by the robots. As soon as we have this fully operational, we'll be able to do it with the roboports we have lined up already. So now that we have this, it is pretty much just a case of copy pasting it. So right here, if we take a blueprint of this side, I think that'll be quite fine to over here, only to about that one, and save that. We're then able to turn you, add it in right here, then we're able to turn this one, taking it the opposite way, able to turn that and get it up that way. So that is pretty much one of our robot grids, or a modular train grids. Because what we want to do with this then is have one unloading here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So each of these grids that's going to have this side will enable us to have what's it called, 8 different items flowing in. That is at least what we are planning on doing at the moment. Of course, if you need more, you can always just remove one of these missile ones, expand it out, get twice as many, or you can take 4 of them and get them all together to make one massive one, depending on how you want to set up your your grid. So I think this is a pretty decent place to end this first part of our setup of our new train Megabase. The next episode we will start to decide the unloading for these, how they'll come in, how they'll go out, and what kind of logic I'll use to handle the trains. I'm going for I'm about to say ant farm kind of system where we have 2 trains, so 1 locomotive, 2 what's it called, cargo wagons as the inputs, with the ability to store 2 sets of trains at a time in a waiting position, and then use some limiters as a way to guide them. At least that's what I want to try, making a LTN, if any of you have played with mods before, logistic train network kind of system, just in vanilla. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Do comment what you think about this setup and what I've planned so far. And if you do enjoy it, do remember to leave a like on the video. And as always, if you're new to the channel, do remember to subscribe as well. And with that, thank you so much for watching, guys. I've been Dgray, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.